Hi everyone, my name is Ryan Southwood, and this video is just going to be me reading a little eulogy I wrote for the CBS sitcom Me, Myself, and I. It was a show that ran for only one season. It was a very short run, but it's a show that I enjoyed very deeply in my heart, and I just felt like writing a eulogy so that I could come to peace with its tragic end. So I started writing this way back in July of 2018 when the show started airing its last episodes, and I meant to finish it back then so that I could get a little bit more in depth and talk about more specifics with the different episodes, but I haven't watched it since then, and life just got in the way, so I ended up finishing it up with some last thoughts last night, and I'm just going to read it here now. I decided to do this instead of posting it to Facebook, and so there will be a clear break in between what I wrote back in July and then what I wrote just last night, and I will indicate that as well. So, here we go. This is my eulogy for Me, Myself, and I. There she goes. Ladies and gentlemen, we are gathered here today for a time of mourning, remembering, and, above all else, celebrating one of the greatest sitcoms ever to grace the airwaves. The sad reality is that many people have never heard of this show and probably never will. Although it premiered with decent ratings, Nielsen audiences tuned out as the following several weeks passed. After just 6 weeks in prime time, this undiscovered treasure of a sitcom had the life sucked right out of it, in such a way that its hopes of a second chance practically vanished just as quickly as the show itself. It took over 8 months for the show to return to the air and live out the rest of its days on CBS. Although it scarcely received any buzz from the most important voices in our TV world today, this sitcom would prove to bear more brilliance, heart, and purpose than any of its competitors. One short season of 13 episodes was hardly enough to establish a full foundation for the series, yet the few episodes viewers did see cracked the storyline wide open and displayed the potential of a TV show that defied all conventions and demonstrated the truths of life that endure through time. That show, friends, is Me, Myself, and I. In order to assure that everyone in attendance understands just how outstanding this show was, allow me to briefly set the stage for you. Imagine this. It is the present day. You want something new to watch on TV. There are billions of options available, so you have some criteria to narrow the selection down. You want a show that has an interesting premise. If possible, something that has never been tried on TV before. You desire a show that would make you laugh, keep you on your toes, so to speak, and enable you to see the common experiences we all have. Your perfect show is devoid of the smut and moral depravity that is all too prevalent in television today. This is a show you would want to watch with your kids, but it doesn't feel like a family show, because it's so much more. This show's writing is not overloaded with Hollywood tropes, and the humor carries some thought behind it. You immediately fall in love with each character, and there isn't a single bad guy for you to despise with all your being. This TV show is not glamorous, gimmicky, or removed from the real world. It is simply a picture of a working individual who has bright ideas, a kind heart, and a desire to leave the world a better place than it was when he arrived. Now, with that last line, I'm getting a little too specific, but you know how this part of the speech ends. If I just described a TV show that you would like to watch, you're in luck. It exists, and its name is Me, Myself, and I. The show opens with a simple line. My name is Alex Riley, and this is the story of my life. That sentence in itself might not seem to carry much meaning, but it is the perfect way to introduce the series. Me, Myself, and I does indeed give us a direct look at Alex Riley's life. Such a premise might seem better suited for a film, seeing as the average person's life spans multiple decades. However, the viewers immediately discover that it's time to buckle their seatbelts and prepare for a ride through time. Me, Myself, and I, rather than taking a chronological approach, shows us 3 different cross-sections of Alex Riley's life. We begin in the year 1991 and meet a 14-year-old Alex who has the creativity, intellect, and desire to develop revolutionary inventions. Young Alex faces the challenges of moving from Chicago to Los Angeles, navigating a new school, and adjusting to life with a stepfather and stepbrother. Even as a lifelong fan of the Chicago Bulls, moving to the home of the Lakers is not the least of his worries. As quickly as the story began, Alex becomes a 40-year-old in the present day who is forced to deal with a declining career and a divorce. Although he somehow convinces his ex-wife to grant him custody of their daughter, the fact remains that he lives in his friend Daryl's garage, a two-car garage, he will emphatically remind you, and is constantly struggling to think up that one invention that will get him back on his feet. Then, all of a sudden, Alex is a 65-year-old billionaire with an incredibly successful company. He has changed the world with his inventions, and his daughter is now the general manager of his favorite basketball team. His way of life meets a drastic change as he suffers a severe heart attack and immediately resigns as CEO of Riley Industries. This show seamlessly travels from one stage of life to another as we watch how Alex responds to his circumstances. As he states near the beginning of the pilot, our life stories aren't defined by the things that happen to us. They're defined by how we choose to deal with them. This is but the first bit of wisdom Alex Riley imparts to us as he takes us on his journey, and throughout the series he demonstrates that shared experiences are the binding that unifies all people in all stages of life. So that is the portion that I wrote in July of 2018. Here's the portion that I just wrote last night. I took a break in the middle of writing this eulogy, and I meant to finish it right after the series ended so I could make it a bit longer and more in-depth. Life, of course, got in the way, but I haven't thought about this series any less since the last time I added to this eulogy. It's now April 2019, and I'm sad to report that there is literally no way to watch Me, Myself, and I online using legal means. CBS All Access no longer has the series, and it's not available on any streaming sites or on DVD. I and all the other fans have no proper way of watching this series at the moment, which is beyond ridiculous. I'm hoping and praying CBS and Warner Brothers will come to their senses and release the show one day, but I think this show will always be in my mind and my memory. I was blessed enough to be able to watch every episode back when it was around, and I may never have even discovered the series if I hadn't worked a seasonal job at Warner Brothers Studio Tour Hollywood in summer of 2017. To get back to discussing the show itself, I can't go super in-depth because I haven't watched it since July 2018, but there are a couple things I definitely want to go over. One of those things is the show's relatability. I've already spoken about how the show does an incredible job of examining the shared experiences that all people have. It has an innate ability to show that humans are more alike than we may realize. We get to see 3 different stages in the life of a man who was a nerdy kid at 14, a struggling divorced man at 40, and a retired billionaire at 65. He has several ups and downs in his life, and he is in a much different place in the future from where he was in the past or present, but he's still the same person the entire time. Not only that, but even as a billionaire, he still faces many of the challenges and peculiarities that everyone is familiar with. I say this all in an attempt to segue into a look at the episode Home Alone and its effects on me. In the future storyline of that episode, the house that Ron, Maggie, Alex, and Justin used to live in is going up for sale. At first, Justin and Alex are not entirely thrilled with the idea of selling their beloved childhood home. Alex is even more attached to it than Justin, and it takes quite a bit of convincing for Alex to open up the house for prospective buyers. If I remember correctly, the open house doesn't last very long, because Alex becomes upset when he hears all the plans that other people have if they should get the house. Justin tries to keep him under control, but he eventually gets angry and shoos everyone out of the house. Alex wants to take it off the market, and Justin joins him in their old bedroom to reminisce about their early teenage and adult years. They have fun recounting all their old memories of the first time their parents left them home alone, which happens in the past storyline of the same episode, as I recall. The first time they got drunk together after turning 21, and everything in between. Justin compassionately sees that Alex doesn't want to part with the memories of this home or their parents. They both also discuss how they miss their parents. However, Justin sees that they can do quite a bit of good in selling the home. I think they really wouldn't need the money. At this point in time, Alex is a billionaire and Justin is the governor of California. But they have no practical use keeping the home because they'll never use it. As they're talking things over, a young couple comes back into the house looking for one of their kids. It turns out their boys had been playing hide-and-seek while they were viewing the house, and one of them had been in the closet in Alex and Justin's old bedroom the whole time. Just as it begins to seem that Justin will not be able to convince Alex to sell the house, This young couple talks about how much they love it and how much it could do for their family. In an instant, Alex has a change of heart and enthusiastically invites them to take the house. I guess Justin really did get through to him. This episode was especially touching for me because of the narrations near the end, and the fact that my parents sold my childhood home right around the time it first aired. My parents had lived in the same house for 25 years, and I spent almost 22 years of my life there. Since I moved to the LA area after graduating college, I was not able to go home and say an official goodbye. I grew up in Bloomington, Illinois. It was hard for me to think that my next trip home wouldn't be to the same house that I had known for my whole life, but Home Alone helped me to endure the times of emotional difficulty. As the episode concludes, Alex says that a home is more than just a house. It's how the people in that house make you feel. This observation carries a lot of meaning for me because I had such a nice childhood. I was blessed to grow up in a loving family that nurtured me and taught me what love really is. Alex Riley was able to do the same once he and his mother moved in with Ron and Justin. Other episodes show how Ron was able to be the father Alex had never had before, and he was always there for him. Justin could be such a dunce at times, but he, too, had an overall positive influence on Alex in that he immediately welcomed his little bro from the start and helped him to feel at home both in his new school and his new family. This all helped me to realize that I still have the same family I grew up with, and they're not going away just because we moved to a new house. The good times I had in my childhood home were possible because of the people who were in it, not because of the structure itself. Another important thing that Alex notes is that home is also the memories you make with those people while you're there. I guess I already kind of covered that one because it basically overlaps with the first thing he said. Memories are some of the most important things people have, and memories follow you for a lifetime. It doesn't matter what abode you live in or where you are in life. You can always cling to memories and find in them the strength to face new situations. Alex wasn't thrilled to have a stepdad and stepbrother at first, but it's so nice that he did. They gave him a concept of family that he never had when he lived with only his mother, and I'm sure it had a lasting impact on his marriage and his relationship with his daughter Abby. From what we can see, Alex's ex-wife Sarah is entirely responsible for the marriage failing. He catches her cheating on him, and soon enough she's engaged to the new guy. But in any case, this idea of homes being a place where memories are made truly resonated with me, and, presumably, all the other viewers who fondly remember their younger days. Alex's final observation is that, even after you leave a house, the home you had there stays with you forever. And the best part is, when you do eventually leave that house, it gets to be somebody else's home too. As Alex is saying this, we can see the two sons of this young couple excitedly running around their new house, checking out the bedroom, and planning out all the shenanigans they'll have there. These brothers are not at all unlike Alex and Justin, and it's heartwarming to see a new, youthful energy entering this house in this new family. In the same way, I'm sure the family now living in my old house has found comfort and a safe place to be. I hope they love that house as much as I do, and I hope they're having the same kind of wonderful experiences I had there. I'd have to think any given house typically doesn't belong to just one family, even over the course of 50 years. And one of the beautiful things about houses is that they can provide shelter and warmth for many different families throughout their existence. This episode did an amazing job of demonstrating all those truths, and it particularly struck a chord with me as I happened to be going through the same situation as the 65-year-old Alex and Justin. The only reason why I was able to quote from the episode so extensively, by the way, is that I made a personal Facebook post reflecting on the episode right after my family was closing their sale of the house. I could speak about other episodes, but suffice it to say that each episode of Me, Myself, and I was humorous, wholesome, and delivered many such wise musings about the joys and trials of life. I would also like to comment on the particular aspect that I consider to be the show's biggest weakness. I do this not to trash the show in any way, but rather to show that it had strengths to overcome its weaknesses and did a remarkable job of turning lemons into lemonade, just as Alex always sought to do. In my view, the one thing about Me, Myself, and I that didn't work perfectly, despite the show's incredible premise, is the love story between Alex Riley and Nori Sterling. I love how their relationship played out in the past and future storylines, and the conclusion in both of those was everything I could have asked for, but the one problem is that we knew Alex and Nori would not end up together in the past. Because of how the present and future storylines begin, we know that the two of them never had a fairy tale romance. This made much of the story in the past rather inconsequential, yet even in its weakness, Me, Myself, and I still entertained as it showed Alex's repeated attempts to win Nori's heart. The show's cast was incredible, and I never doubted Alex's infatuation with Nori, thanks to the amazing talents of Jack Dylan Grazer. Likewise, John Larroquette did a wonderful job as Alex pursued Eleanor in the future, and although she rarely comes up in the present storyline, Bobby Moynihan still has a clear attachment to his first sweetheart from 25 years before. Some people may have tuned out or become disinterested since they knew the eventual outcome of that storyline in the past and the present, but I just couldn't lose interest as the show provided entertaining and emotionally engaging twists and turns in the journey. Me, Myself, and I was never boring or simply adequate, and the Alex Nori story arc kept me hungry for more despite the fact that I knew they wouldn't become an item in their school days or the immediate future. That's the only real weakness I could find in the show, and although many critics were lukewarm about it from the beginning, all the other perceived flaws are totally unimportant to me. One particular complaint that bugged me is the idea that the 5'8" Bobby Moynihan could not believably play the 40-year-old version of the same character portrayed by a 6'4" John Larroquette. That had absolutely no bearing on the series, as it was all one shared timeline, and as such, no two versions of Alex ever interacted with each other. The cast, as I said, was stellar, and all three actors who played Alex did a marvelous job at displaying the characteristics that Alex Riley possessed throughout his entire life, or at least the stretch from 1991 to 2042. There was so much to like about this series, not to mention the fact that the people who whined about the height difference need a quick lesson in suspension of disbelief. The show was written so well that there was no doubt that all three of them were Alex Riley at different life stages, and I'd have a hard time believing that other highly acclaimed TV shows had no need for suspension of disbelief and no errors in continuity. All that said, I think it's about time to wrap this eulogy up. I am happy to report that just a couple months ago, I discovered that Corky's is an actual restaurant. The very diner where Alex certainly enjoyed many waffles and french fries is a real place in Sherman Oaks, California, and it is so easy to get to from my apartment in Burbank. I was so lucky to see a tweet that mentioned its connection to Me, Myself, and I, and since then I have visited it twice. It's a very nice spot to eat, and the food is outstanding. The chicken strips were some of the best I've ever had, and I also enjoyed the Reuben I had on my first visit. Sometime I'll have to go there in the morning and have a waffle just as Alex did, but I at least know the fries are tasty. It's just so neat to know that an important location used for the series is a real establishment, and it allows the show to live on in a way that some other shows don't have. In closing, I offer these remarks. I was just wondering the other day what would be happening on Me, Myself, and I Season 2 if the show were still on right now. However, I try not to dwell on those thoughts for this very reason. Me, Myself, and I did so much more in 13 episodes than most shows do over multiple seasons. The show had so much purpose to it, and each episode was more meaningful than any episode of most other TV shows. The show had a strong beginning and a perfect ending, and everything in between was wonderful. Me, Myself, and I had so much potential to unlock, and so much promise, but maybe it's for the best that it had such a short run. It's definitely true that there can be too much of a good thing, and it's said that the best things come in small packages. The way it turned out, it almost seemed like a mini-series, even though it wasn't intended to be. I'm still bitter about the way CBS treated it, and I'm incensed that there's literally no way to watch the show legally online, nor is there a DVD set. But it's also comforting to know that many of the cast members have moved on to other big projects since that. And to break from what I've written for the eulogy, I didn't put this in there specifically, but to mention some of those other projects, Christopher Paul Richards, who played the kid version of Justin on Me, Myself, and I, is currently playing Joey Cleary on ABC's sitcom The Kids Are All Right, which premiered back in October of 2018. The Kids Are Alright is a great show. Chris does an excellent job on it, and it's just really entertaining. I'm seriously hoping that ABC renews it, because it's a wonderful show, and it would be really sad if Christopher Paul Richards was in 2 back-to-back one-season shows. That just wouldn't be fair, because he's a crazy good actor. Also, Raylan Castor, who played the young version of Nori, is playing a character named Bree on ABC's sitcom American Housewife. So that's cool as well. I'm sure American Housewife is more likely to be renewed than The Kids Are Alright, so hopefully we'll get to see her more on that show. But that's a little bit about her. And then also, Jack Dylan Grazer has a big role in the superhero movie Shazam, which is out right now. So, and I really gotta highly recommend that movie. It is really insanely good. I mean, I'm not even a fan of superheroes to begin with. I don't really follow them all that much, but I got into Shazam since I saw the trailers and saw that he was in it, and man, it's a fantastic movie. It's funny, it's exciting, it's engaging, and Jack just does an amazing job. He's an outstanding actor, and I'm really glad he was able to be in that. So while everybody else is watching Avengers Endgame, you should totally go out and see Shazam if you still can. It's a quality movie. I can't say enough about it. It's great. So those are a couple of the projects that some of the cast members have gotten onto since then. And back to my finishing remarks here. Excuse me. Okay, so back to the eulogy. Me, Myself, and I could have been a big deal, but I'm satisfied in knowing that it proved its worth so quickly and left fans with excellent closure and plenty to enjoy in its short run. It was canceled after only 6 episodes, and I was devastated. I was begging for more. Those 6 Monday nights in September and October of 2017 were so enjoyable for me, and I thought about the show every day from the moment CBS pulled it from the primetime schedule to the day in June 2018 when they finally announced when the last 7 episodes would air. I was at Disney World when I read that news, and it made my day even that much better. It was a joy to watch the remaining episodes in July, and I only wish I could go back to those days when it was easy to watch. In any case, despite how recent its run was, Me, Myself, and I has become a forgotten TV gem that only the luckiest of people got to see, and I will always remember and celebrate the value it added to my TV watching experience. I, along with the many other fans who are surely out there, can and most definitely will cherish it forever. There she goes. Me, Myself, and I, a show that ran from September 25th, 2017 to July 21st, 2018. So that's about it, everyone. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you watched the whole entire thing, thank you so much. That means a lot to me. And I'm going to share this video on social media, of course, and I know this is quite a long shot, but if there are any cast members out there, any producers, literally anyone who was involved with the production of Me, Myself, and I out there, I live in Burbank, California, as I mentioned earlier, so I would love to meet you, and I actually have a Me, Myself, and I photo signed by Bobby Moynihan. I should have brought this with me before I started recording this video, but yes, you can see this photo right here, so I would love to get more autographs on it, so if you would like to sign it, that would be great. And again, I know that's quite a long shot, not likely to happen, but I thought I'd put it out there. If you're interested in contacting me, you can hit me up on YouTube or Facebook, or I'm also on Twitter and Instagram at RyanLinus3927, and you can see that username in the description of the video. So that's all. Thanks everyone for watching. Bye-bye, and thank you to all the people involved with bringing us Me, Myself, and I